Welcome to Parshas Pinchas. Parshas Pinchas opens off with us being told that Hashem rewards Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the grandson of Aaron HaKohen, because he's Hishiv es Chamati. He turned away my anger. Hashem says, I'm not angry anymore based on what Pinchas did. What did Pinchas do? Well, at the end of last week's Parshas Balak, when Balaam unsuccessfully curses Bnei Yisrael, he tells Balak the only way to defeat Bnei Yisrael is you have to get them to do an Aveira. You have to get them to sin. Then Hashem is going to be mad at them, and then you'll be able to overcome them. You'll be able to defeat them. How so? How are we going to get Bnei Yisrael to sin? He said, have the Jewish men marry the non-Jewish women, have the Jewish men marry the women from Moab. That way, Hashem will be upset with them, and you'll be able to overcome them. Hashem won't be on their side anymore. And that's what they did. And the end of last week's Parsha, it details the unfortunate marriage that took place between Cozbi and Zimri, the Nasi, the prince of Shevet Shimon, marrying the princess from Moab. And Pinchas sees what happens. He says there's a public marriage between Cozbi and Zimri, and he says, absolutely not. I cannot allow this to happen. And he kills both of them in public, in front of all of Bnei Israel. He kills Cozbi and Zimri together. And in that way, Hashem says that your reward is, I'm going to make you a Kohen. I'm going to give you the Brit Shalom. So the question is, why is it that in the beginning of this week's Parsha, when Pinchas is described to us, we trace who his father is, we trace who his grandfather is back to Aaron HaKohen. Why is that relevant? Just tell us, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, and we know who he is. Why is it necessary and relevant for the pasuk to teach us that Pinchas was also the grandson of Aaron HaKohen? So Rashi tells us on the first pasuk that the other people, the other Shvatim, others of Bnei Israel were making fun of Pinchas, saying, you're going to kill Cozbi and Zimri? You're going to kill the prince from Shimon? Who are you? You're a nobody. Look at where you come from. And they used to make fun of him. And they would say, you don't have the right to do such a thing. You're not acting purely l'shem shamayim. Maybe you're just an angry person. And therefore you're resorting to violence. You're killing people. What did they do that was so wrong? They deserve to die? You don't have a right to do that. You're just angry. And the pasuk is telling us no. By linking him to Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen, Moshe's brother, the Kohen Gadol, he's famous for being a Ohev Shalom V'Rodev Shalom, loving peace and chasing after peace. Aaron HaKohen loved peace. He hated arguments. He tried to avoid conflict as much as possible. If people were having an argument, he would run over to one of them and say, so-and-so wants to make peace with you. And then he would run over to the other one and say, so-and-so wants to make peace with you. And then they would make up, and their conflict and their fight would be over, would be resolved. So what the pasuk is teaching us is that no, Pinchas was not an angry person. Pinchas did not have a bad temper. And that's the reason why he killed Cozbi and Zimri, because look at who his grandfather was. He had the same midot, he had the same character traits as his grandfather, as Aaron HaKohen. And he loved peace. And therefore the only reason why he resorted to violence in this case, why he had to kill Cozbi and Zimri, is because it was a chil Hashem. A public affair was taking place, and he said, I have to stand up for the honor of Hashem. Standing up for the honor of Hashem doesn't make you an angry person. It doesn't make you a violent person. It means that you're doing the right thing, and that takes courage, and that takes guts. And therefore, the pasuk is teaching us that Pinchas was a phenomenal person. He stood up for the right thing, even though everybody made fun of him, even though he was on side A and everybody else was on side B, because he believed in what he did was to be right. And therefore, Hashem rewards him for that. And the pasuk links him to Aaron HaKohen for all eternity, so that we know that he did carry on the legacy of his grandfather of being an Ohev Shalom and a Rodev Shalom. And sometimes that means making hard decisions. And sometimes that means when you have to stand up for the right thing, even if no one else is doing it. But ultimately, if you believe that what you're doing is correct, Hashem will reward you for it if your heart is in the right place. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos. Be well.